Good morning, Patriots. Today is Wednesday, November 24, 2021, and this is the Restored Republic via GCR update by Duty Pointed, and she has. Yeah, some quotes here. We have to love our freedom more than we fear a germ. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. OK Judy, note the kingpin of the global currency reset. The Iraqi dinar went international early Sunday morning, November 21. On the 22nd, the RV was made official worldwide. On the 23rd, the inauguration of the worldwide GCR began with Zurich and Asia, the greatest holders of bonds and assets, and also on Tuesday some internet went down due to the switch over to the Starlink satellite system. On Wednesday, November 24, was the end of a 72-hour waiting period for the GCR. And on that Wednesday, November 24, Tier 4B was set to begin scheduling redemption exchange appointments at special redemption centers, and then on the 25th, which is tomorrow, the US would begin exchanges beginning in Miami. OK received from a high-up contact Monday the 22nd at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The RV was made official worldwide, after which all countries and bags stayed online to make sure it was not reversed, which it wasn't on Tuesday, November 23rd. The inauguration began with Zurich and Asia, the greatest holders of bonds and assets. On Thursday, November 25th, the U.S. would begin exchanges beginning of Miami, and then the 26th Colombia, Brazil and Mexico would begin. This global currency reset was set and ready to go and vital for global change. So it looks like the main thing is the reset, and everything else that's happening, they're just letting happen. Some other things from the big call with Bruce. There was a paring down of billions on the Wells Fargo email list. 214 million Tier 4B emails ready to be released. A Tier 1 bank officer said notification for Tier 4B would go either right before or after Thanksgiving. Bondholders have been given liquidity and would have additional liquidity perhaps tomorrow, Wednesday, November 24, that $1 billion of that would be spendable for the next 90 days. Some Attorney General signatures promised for the petition were yet to be obtained. Lindahl promised to publish the petition if the eggs didn't come through by sometime Wednesday, November 24. Now a lot of people think that this particular exercise, I guess in taking us to the Supreme Court with the Attorney General signatures, and it's for show, it's to help wake people up. But I don't have faith that the Supreme Court, would overturn the election. I think military is the only way, but I think they go through this particular events, as a show for people so they can see each system and our government doesn't work. It's corrupted, and that's important because some people have to see the truth. Instead of just someone telling them. So it's like they're exposing the courts, they're exposing Congress, they're exposing the House, they're exposing the executive branch, that they're exposing the police. They're exposing the FBI, all the different court systems, CPS and so forth. Trying to show you that all of our departments and governmental agencies have been corrupted, and it's like we have to start all over again, which is what we're gonna do. But some people to avoid some fighting back and not understanding this is an important process, and while they're doing this they're getting the whole global currency reset going. That's my understanding. Okay. But I don't have a lot of faith. Anything will come of the Supreme Court. Data hearing or whatever. Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Pennsylvania, San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle and Washington, D.C. Audio message is an EVS. This is not a test. The emergency alarm system has been activated. The telephone lines must be kept closed. Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Pennsylvania, San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle and Washington, D.C. A list of cities all with ports or military naval bases. The first to Boston Navy Yard. It was one of the oldest shipbuilding structures of the United States Navy. Chicago Naval Station. Great Lakes is the home of the United States Navy's only training camp, located near Chicago Naval Station. Great Lakes, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia. There is a shipyard on Delaware. 121 follows 12 continues. The rest of the cities on both the east and west coast departure points for the China Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Last mentioned Washington, D.C. Invented area headquarters. Why does Paul warn us of already official Navy military operations? MHM. And that's a good question. So it could be a clue that something about something coming. The EBs could be used in different areas at different times. Maybe I don't know those things, but these are all ports. And if there was an attack on ports, for example, that would leave the rest of the country vulnerable. And I think there might be one in one of the Great Lakes departure points for the China Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. So that's on both sides. Last mentioned Washington, D.C. Thinking Terry headquarters. Global financial crisis, we're just waiting. This Evergrande is to be removed from the stock indexes, meltdown looms. India about to ban cryptocurrencies and regulate asset-backed digital currency. The Russian stock exchange falls rapidly at the open today. This comes after a massive sell-off due to the possible military escalation by Kremlin in Eastern Europe. Yes, because we know the Russians are building up military all around Ukraine. The UK bulb energy goes bust. Bulb has become the largest energy company to collapse as a result of high wholesale gas prices, leaving British taxpayers on the hook to ensure its 17 million customers continue to benefit from a continuous supply to their homes. The Treasury has been forced into what amounts to a temporary nationalization of Bulb to protect the energy supply of its customers. After the company failed to secure financing to continue operating independently, China, the auto union groups, dollar bonds fell on November 23, pulling junk notes down with it as a report saying the company failed to pay a trust loan in full revived concerns about stress among Chinese developers. The whole Evergrande thing is going to affect other companies in China too. It's just gonna pull everything down. JFK refused and he was killed within a year. I will splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the winds. JFK. So the CIA was up to doing these false flags going way back. And it's interesting that she puts that in here. Operation Northwoods, is that what's coming? Something similar to that? Because remember 107 says the event will be like a 3-day Cuban Missile Crisis. And it's interesting that she's bringing up Operation Northwoods. Are they gonna redo Operation Northwoods? Staging, you know that like Cuba but not Cuba. Maybe some other country is doing something and just as a means to start a war. So I guess we'll see. But these are some clues. Wars and rumors of wars. The collapse of US and Afghanistan embolden Russia and China to act in Ukraine and Taiwan. Endgame World War III update. Russian state TV last night claimed Moscow's anti-satellite missile could destroy 32 NATO satellites and blind all their missiles, planes and ships. Oh, that's a threat. If you ask me, Russia is threatening NATO. They wouldn't say something like that for no reason. Today Taiwan intercepted the jets with their own aircraft and issued radio warnings as well as deploying missile systems to track the Chinese aircraft. So things are really getting tense there. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry has warned that Russia has increased its military readiness level for Russian occupation forces in Donbass. So they're definitely like their DEFCON level has gone up. Military readiness from what I saw last, we're still at a DEFCON 4 here in America. And then Russian state TV has claimed that Russia's anti-satellite missiles have the capability of destroying 32 native satellites. 32, and you know it isn't there like 32 or 33 satanic buildings that need to be destroyed as well. Interesting. Blind all their missiles, planes and ships, not to mention the ground horses. Gateway pundit, Steve Bannon goes off on reckless Biden regime. They're purposefully trying to destroy the US dollar. This is the con, and this was he was on your room and see if they have a clip that we have. It's going to have 5 weeks of total turmoil because you've got to continue resolution to fund the government where we have $1 trillion, $3.5 deficits in perpetuity. Of course the Democrats are not today. None of that matters. Deficits don't matter. It's modern monetary theory, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just keep printing money. You've got the debt ceiling fight, which McConnell is already playing footsie with the Democrats, right? He's playing footsie. You've got the bankruptcy bill of really $5 trillion. This is going to be a fundamental transformation of the United States of America through the way they want to do it. Which is the economics and the relationship, as Economist says, the triumph of big government. This is the relationship between the citizen and Leviathan. We're seeing it with policy, right? This is a guy that has allowed massive spending. This is a guy that has continued to fuel this policy. So like I said, we're expecting just more of the same stuff. As you say, we have a massive fight as American citizens, and I can say that now we've got a massive fight on our hands. We've got to stop the policies of this administration because ultimately longer term they're going to bankrupt this nation. I think 50 years from now, historians will write about the Biden presidency, and it has been so far the worst since Jimmy Carter in terms of misery, in terms of sheer economic suffering inflicted across the U.S., and it's getting worse. And I think a Powell appointment, it just means continuation of this policy. Right? Having Brain on was the Fed chair means a continuation of this policy? Sorry, please. No. If you look at the Green New Deal and everything else, we're talking about woke investing that the Feds are get invested. It's very scary. And remember, the buried lead in the zero hedge piece over the weekend is that they're planning another stimulus, believing in another stimulus package for the spring of next year. Believing in another stimulus package for the